Well, kia ora koutou katoa, ko Quentin Campbell toka wingua. No mai, haere mai, and welcome to today's webinar, which is hosted by Nelson Hospital. And today we've got representatives from the DHB and an RMO representative. Ladies, I'll just get you to introduce yourselves and we'll push on with the webinar.
Good afternoon, welcome everyone to the Nelson Hospital webinar. I'm Loretta Matheson, RMO Team Lead.
Kia ora koutou katoa, ko Kate toka ingoa, and I'm a GMed House Officer, PGY1.
Tēnā koutou, no mai haere mai.
I came to Nelson 10 years ago with the expectation that I'd spend 6 months to a year here, and now I wouldn't live anywhere else.
Nelson Marlborough gives you a good balance between sort of work life and social life. Nelson Hospital is a good size hospital to work at. It's a friendly environment, so you actually know a lot of the people in the hospital that you're working with.
There's quite a lot of good relationships between different specialties.
So there's lots of opportunities for you to develop your career however you want to focus it on.
A disadvantage for patients in bigger services is that they can get turned into a set of individual problems without one person really thinking about them as a human being. This is a fantastic environment to actually be able to practice really good medicine because you have the opportunity to look at the person as a whole.
Yeah, it's just easy to get around. So in Sydney it was always a battle everywhere you wanted to go, and I think that sort of flows on to even the patients. They come into the hospital, they can get a park, and they're quite happy to have a chat and they're quite relaxed.
Lots of restaurants, beautiful beaches. It's an excellent place to raise a family. I have 2 children now. Schools are fantastic. We couldn't be happier living here.
I would say to somebody who is wanting to come and work for Nelson Marlborough Health that they should do it. It's a great place to work, it's a great place to live, and it's a really enjoyable environment to be in.
It's always sunny.
Everything you could ask for.
There's nowhere else in New Zealand I'd want to live.
People come here by choice because it is a fantastic destination, and then they stay because when they realise they've been here for a while they don't want to leave.
Welcome to Nelson Hospital. I'm Kate and this is Loretta, and today we will be presenting to you guys lots about our lovely hospital, so I hope you enjoy. So yeah, that's just introducing us. Loretta is our RMO team lead and she's our go-to person for all things RMO, and I'm just a PGY1, I'm doing medicine at the moment.
So about Nelson Hospital, Nelson Hospital's got 140 beds and serves a population of 104,000. 1 in 5 people here are internationally born with 48 different cultural groups. We're close to Wellington, Christchurch and Blenheim. It's a teaching hospital and we are looking to get a new hospital in the future. We're just not sure when. So the positions available for PGY1 is general surgery, general medicine, geriatrics, urology, gynae ophthalmology, 2 lots of orthopedics, one by itself and one with dental, cardiology, and then there is medicine or surgery relief or general relief in the 3rd and 4th quarters. The positions available in PGY2 are all the runs that we indicated in the PGY1 runs. There's the paediatric diploma, O&G diploma, surgical diploma, ENT, 4 3-month runs of anaesthetics, and then we had the community runs of hospice, community psychiatry, GP and urgent care. And there is also, if people are interested in psychiatry, psychogeriatrics, relief, which covers all of the above runs, and emergency. So the best things about the hospital is that we have a small amount of registrars. A lot of the registrars are advanced registrars and we might just have 1 in a specialty, like this 1 in O&G, 1 in paediatrics. We have fairly up-to-date technology here. All the house officers have their own cell phones. From the time they arrive, they keep the same cell phone until the time they leave. Everyone in the hospital, you get to know everybody knows your name, and they're very friendly, and you become a respected member of a wider team. We have very supportive consultants and registrars who are all keen to teach. There's also lots of opportunities to be involved in frontline patient care. Joe and I try and be a very supportive and helpful RMO unit to everyone. And the RMOs here get a great level of clinical experience. So there's good weather at the top of the south throughout the year. There's 3 national parks and a forest park within half an hour drive. We have lovely beaches, and there's a beach just close to the city centre with great opportunities. There's kayaking, mountain biking, rock climbing, tramping, and the RMOs here do get 1 free barista coffee a day. So in orientation week, we have a 4-day orientation. The first day is with both the Korero and Nelson House officers, PGY1, so there's normally about 15 altogether, which includes a hospital tour, going through IT systems, representative talking about both unions, introduction to trauma care, all things about ACC, pre-vocational educational supervisors, normally for a couple of hours, normally half an hour or a day shadowing on the wards, half a day family violence workshop, and time with departments like pharmacy, laboratory, radiology, Māori health, theatre and endoscopy. So our values at NMDHB is respect. We care about and will be responsive to the needs of a diverse range of people, communities and staff. Innovation, we will provide an environment where people can challenge current processes and generate new ways of working and learning. Teamwork, we create an environment where teams flourish and connect across the organisation for the best possible outcome. And integrity, we support an environment which expects openness and honesty in all our dealings and maintains the highest integrity at all times. So for teaching, we have a grand round on a Tuesday. Wednesday's protected teaching, 2 lots of 45-minute sessions. And that's the best day for protected teaching due to the 10-4 RDOs. There's also teaching on a Thursday for wellbeing subjects. And then we have core advanced cardiac life support courses, prompt courses, paediatric life support, family violence and simulations. So with the ACE application, it's wonderful to have a cover letter, and it would be nice to have a photo on the cover letter. We carry out interviews if anyone's really serious about coming to Nelson. We actually carry out the interviews right throughout the year, not just the time after the applications come in. So we have a consideration of the ACE scoring and whether people have an interest connection to the area, whether they can work as part of a small team and being willing to help each other out.
Thank you, Larissa, for that. And now I'll just talk about what it's like to be a PGY1 at Nelson Hospital. So before I talk, we just have a video to watch.
My name's Roshani and I'm a PGY1 here at Nelson Hospital. I'm currently working on the AT&R ward, so that's for older person's health.
Hi, my name's Edward Palmer and I'm a first year house officer at Nelson Hospital, and currently I'm doing urology.
I was lucky enough to do some of my trainee intern year here at Nelson Hospital last year. So I did a quarter up here and absolutely loved it. What sort of struck me from day one was just how friendly everyone was here. I guess being a smaller hospital, you get to know everyone by names pretty quickly.
So the RMO office for Nelson Marlborough District Health Board is simply fantastic. I've always had a really positive interaction with them. Whether it's something on the roster you might need changed or some leave you want to get, I think that the reputation that this DHB has in that regard is probably the best.
There's only 12 PGY1s and I think roughly about 40 house officers in total, so you get to know your fellow colleagues pretty well inside and outside the hospital.
So despite being a small hospital, I would say that any career opportunity is possible from Nelson, especially if you're interested in practical procedures, anaesthetics or surgery. There's a lot of opportunities earlier than in other hospitals to get involved and learn some of those basic things. It also has on its hands more time for the patients, so you can gain your skills as a first year in a more thorough manner. And to add to that, it's in such a beautiful location, it made it hard to resist.
Achieving a work-life balance in a career in medicine is always something that's stressed upon and something that we all want to achieve. And I think in Nelson, just being in this beautiful area that we are, it's sort of handed to you on a plate. There's so many awesome beaches, great hiking and mountain biking tracks, and there's just so much to do outside of work.
The hospital is well staffed, so you often don't have to work later than expected, and that makes being able to get out there and do what you really love that much easier.
Fantastic. So the pros of Nelson Hospital. I love working here. There's just so many things I could add to this list, but I cut it down to 12. And hopefully all the other house officers agree with me. It's really easy to get to work here in Nelson. You're never too far away from the hospital. Most of the PGY ones walk to work, but if you do want to drive, there's free car parking and there's no time limits on it. The food is pretty good in the cafe. We have meatless Monday and fish Friday, and we are committed to providing lots of vegan and vegetarian options, as well as a whole variety of healthier alternatives. The coffee here is brilliant, and like Loretta said, we get one barista coffee allocated per day within our budget. We finish on time most of the time, which is a bonus. That means we can get out of the hospital and get doing stuff like extracurricular activities, which keep us sane. It's easy to swap shifts with other house officers because there's only 12 or 13 first years. It's easy enough to get in contact with the rest of us and work out ways to roster in a way that we all get what we want and we all get leave when we want. And saying that, we also help each other out on a day-to-day basis, and if one house officer is struggling, lots of us will come surround that house officer and take on jobs for them. And that just means that everyone gets out on time and none of us are just stuck behind. What I really like being on medicine and being on surgery is we get to attend the trauma calls that come into the hospital, we get to attend the stroke calls, and we attend the rapid responses, which adds a bit of drama and flair to your day, and I really like it. We get a lot of hands-on procedures as well. I do a lot of ultrasound guided lines, and I've been teaching my fellow house officers to do them. We have plenty of ultrasounds lying around the hospital to get your hands on one. In terms of pay, we are paid non-urban Cat C, and the DHB contributes 6% towards KiwiSaver on top of what we allocate to put towards ourselves. Nelson Marlborough DHB is well access to work from home and remote access. Sometimes I go home and I have a glass of wine while looking on my patients if there's something else I need to do that I don't really need to be at the hospital for. We have a really cool thing called the emergency backup roster, which basically means that if the hospital was to become overwhelmed after hours, there's one person who voluntarily puts their name down and is happy to be called into the hospital after hours just to pick up a bit of the workload. I know that the emergency backup roster sometimes gets called upon, and it is really helpful to have that fallback and know that someone is there and willing to help you out. In general, and this is just general, we do 3 weekends per run and roughly 5 to 6 long days per run, but all this is just dependent on rostering. I don't find this excessive at all, and I quite enjoy the amount of weekends and long days I do. It's very manageable. And also one cool thing that Nelson has over Blenheim is that we have something called an admission shift, where one house officer works 2 o'clock till 10 o'clock, admitting all the people that come into the hospital regardless of their specialty, and they help out the surgical and medical help regs. This takes a lot of pressure off us other house officers. It means we can get on with our day-to-day jobs in the afternoon and don't have to worry about also admitting people to hospital. We do about 1 week of admission shift per quarter. Cons of Nelson Hospital, there are none. It's brilliant here. Come to Nelson. A little bit into the day of the life of a PGY1. So we have a really cool 7:45 a.m. start where I arrive at work and I print the list and I check everyone's obs and bloods. That's totally manageable to get to the hospital. I use a secret underground tunnel. I live 5 minutes away from the hospital. It's fantastic. 8 o'clock, we have medical handover, and every day we have medical teaching where a registrar, house officer, TI or a consultant does a quick presentation, and we have Fun Day Fridays where it can be any random sort of topic. I taught the kamate haka last time I did Fun Day Friday teaching. 8:30, we start the ward rounds, and in between seeing all the patients, sometimes I would duck off and print some discharges for people that are going home. I would order some radiology online. I would check telemetry by calling ICU, and I relay plans to the nurses and the MDT to make sure everything's going smoothly for the patients. 11:30 every day, we have an MDT meeting, which is very helpful and very succinct way of catching everyone up in the team about what we need to be doing for the patients. It means that things run more efficiently. 12 o'clock, I usually go grab my lunch, plus minus teaching. Lunch is fantastic, it's my favorite part of the day. 1:30, we usually continue the ward rounds. It really depends what team you're on. Some teams go into the afternoon and some teams finish really early at 10 o'clock. It really just depends. At 2:30, sometimes I start my list of jobs, but sometimes I'm starting them before lunch, where I go and review patients by myself and I can relay it back to the reg if I have any concerns, or else I make my own clinical decisions. I do lots of discharging of patients, chasing radiology and bloods, and sending referrals and getting other specialties involved in the care of my patients. Usually in the afternoon, I like to prep the discharges for the patients that I think might be going home tomorrow so that I can quickly go print them out in the morning. And I also go help out my other house officers so that they can leave on time. And then 4 o'clock, just before I go home, I put out the bloods for tomorrow and hand over to the long day house officer. And then by 4:30, I'm out the door and I'm home. What's also pretty cool about being a medical house officer is that 1 in 4 days our team is on call and we take all the patients. We have 4 medical teams, 1 cardiology team, and there's a few oncologists floating around taking patients as well. So 1 in 4 days, I will be attending all the rapid responses that happen in the hospital, no matter the specialty. I'd be attending stroke calls down in ED with my registrar, and I would be attending to the chemo suite patients who are receiving their chemotherapy for the day. So if the nurses page me, they'll be asking about scripts or adverse reactions or admitting them, in which case I go to the oncologist and ask for their opinion. On my on-call days, I also go and admit patients with my registrar down in ED, and I attend to the day stay unit patients as well, where I do a lot of consenting for blood, and I do monitoring for adverse drug reactions, scripts for random medications, and sometimes admitting them if they're not looking so flash. Outside the hospital, I have a fantastic social life. We have heaps of things going on with all the TIs and house officers here. We do a bachelor nights where we watch crap TV all together and have a fantastic time. We do lots of games nights and board games, lots of barbecues, especially in the summer. Nelson is a fantastic place to have a barbecue. Every year we have an annual ski trip / midwinter getaway. This year's one is coming up and we're going to St. Arnaud's into a ski resort and we're having a fantastic party. Every now and again we go for dinner at the consultant's house or our pre-vocational education supervisors. They're pretty chill about all of this. We've got a wine and paint event coming up for us house officers soon, where we're going to do our own thing because it's too expensive to go to an actual event. And we have heaps of social sports teams such as football, rugby, netball, and there's even an ultimate frisbee team. And lots of us like to go hiking and tramping together. So we have heaps of events for that as well. So on the left is a group of us tramping the Abel Tasman National Park. And on the right is us going to the pub on a Friday night. We eat fish and chips on the beach on a regular basis. And in Nelson, we have the Beer Fest, or what we call March Fest, where we all went as a group and we just had a nice time drinking beer. Nelson has lots and lots of fantastic opportunities to do stuff outside the hospital. We have lots of national parks right on our doorstep. We have lots of heritage sites, museums, and historical sites to see. We have Pic's peanut butter. If that's not a reason to come to Nelson, I don't know what is. We have lots of cultural gardens. We have outdoor adventure parks. And we are the home of the Centre of New Zealand. We have lots of adventure things as well to do in Nelson, such as mountain biking, kite surfing, water surfing, windsurfing, and tramping and going out in the ocean, and there was even a place called Cars Museum. It's fantastic. In my free time, I did a windsurfing lesson, which ran for about 6 weeks, and I learned how to windsurf out in the harbour over there. And I'm also going to be attending a bachata dance course. Nelson is home to heaps of festivals as well. I already said about the March Fest, but we also have Bay Dreams, Nelson Fringe Festival, multicultural festivals, jazz festivals, wine and cheese, and we have Taste Tasman coming up as well. So come to Nelson, why wouldn't you? It's fantastic. We have heaps of sunshine, heaps of things to do outdoors, and a fantastic hospital. Time for questions, I think.
Thank you, Kate, for your enthusiasm and insight into what it's like working as an RMO at Nelson. It's absolutely fantastic. Really appreciate that. While we're waiting, I did want to ask about the interviews. So how does that process work exactly, Loretta? And particularly with the timeframes, because you said you do interviews all year. So can you just explain a little bit more about how that works?
Yeah, okay. So we have trainee interns who are here all year, but then we have a lot of part-time ones coming as well. So while they're here, we do encourage them to go for an interview if they think they might be interested in coming back as a PGY1. We don't tend to do Zoom interviews, but we have started to do some this year because we know how difficult it is for people to get here. But I think it is really important, if you're really serious about coming to Nelson, that you should make an effort to come for an interview.
To do that, to arrange that, they contact you by email?
Yep. By email, yeah. I just communicate with the pre-vocational educational supervisor and then get back to them about a day and time.
So first question I've got is, how online is everything? E.g., is paper notes for ward rounds, or is that online? Can we add bloods online? Okay, at this stage, we can't do terribly much online. We do paper notes still, and we do paper bloods still, but I hear they might be moving online soon. Our computer system is Health Connect South, which is linked into the entire South Island, so we can see all the notes done in the South Island. What stuff we can do online is we can order radiology online, we can do referrals online, and all the other stuff you would expect to do. We have electronic obs as well.
Okay, so the next question is, will you only get an interview if Nelson is put as your first choice? The hospital doesn't actually know who puts down Nelson as first choice. So out of we could get 200 applications, but we don't know if you put first, second, third, fourth. So yes, anyone that wants an interview can get an interview.
Yeah, just to add to that, it's more likely that a student will be matched to Nelson Marlborough if they put that as their first employer preference. But it's a blind match, which means that the employers will not know where you rank them in your ACE application process. But you have a higher chance of being matched to Nelson the higher you rank them in your ACE application. Just for the Australian students that will be watching live, and it sounds like it would be more practical for them to get in touch with you directly, just as another pathway instead of doing an in-person interview with you in Nelson. But I wonder if you could just talk about Australian applicants who may have applied in the past and what they can do to better increase their chances of being matched at Nelson.
Interesting question. Because as I say, before this year, we haven't actually done Zoom interviews. We've only done face-to-face. So if you've been really serious about coming here, you've had to fly in for an interview. Actually, I don't really know about the Australian applicants. If there was only one or two, maybe we could do Zoom interviews. I think the problem is that the pre-vocationals get so loaded up with work that they trying to squeeze the interviews in amongst everything else.
Can you talk a little bit more about support and pastoral care for PGY1s and 2s?
So we have the pre-vocational educational supervisors, And then they also have their clinical supervisors on each of their runs. The RMO unit's very open to anybody coming in. We deal with a lot of issues in there. But we also have EAP that any staff can go to.
And we also have a buddy system where we are assigned a PGY 2 or higher house officer that we can go to for any questions at all, not just hospital related stuff.
And what's the leave application process like?
So Nelson has their entire year roster in the 4 quarters up on the intranet, and the RMOs can just look at the roster and have a look and see when they want to take leave. So they can see the leave that people have taken throughout the whole year, and they can see the weeks where maybe 3 or 4 people have already got leave, so they'll know that really that's not a great week to apply. So the leave is very transparent, and it's not very often that we decline leave here.
Anything final to add at all, Kate or Loretta?
I look forward to working with some of you next year.
Awesome. And wish you all the best as well, Kate, for the rest of your remainder of your PGY 1 year going into PGY 2. But yeah, take care. All the best, and haere rā.
Great. Thanks so much, Quentin.
You're welcome. Thanks, Loretta. Thanks, Kate. Bye-bye.
See ya.